The metal restraints bit into Marcus Stone's wrists as he stood before the Galactic Council. The Grand Chamber's crystal dome sparkled with starlight, but its beauty felt like a mockery today. 50 alien representatives from across the galaxy stared down at him from their elevated seats, their faces showing various degrees of disapproval. "Marcus Stone of Earth," boomed Head Counselor Rex, his blue scales gleaming under the chamber lights. "You stand accused of leaking classified council information to unauthorized parties. How do you plead?" Marcus lifted his chin, meeting the alien's 4 eyes without flinching. "Not guilty. I served the council faithfully for 5 years. I would never betray." Silence. Rex's tail whipped through the air. "The evidence is clear. Security footage shows you accessing restricted files at exactly 3:42 Galactic Standard Time. The same files appeared on the dark networks an hour later." "That's impossible. I was in my quarters at that time. Someone must have." A harsh laugh cut through the chamber. Marcus turned to see Arbiter Vale, the snake-like alien who had always opposed human membership in the council. Always excuses with you humans. Always claiming innocence when caught red-handed. Marcus noticed Vale's satisfied smirk and suddenly understood. This was a setup. Vale had been looking for any excuse to discredit humanity's representative, and now he had manufactured one. But without proof, Marcus could only watch as his fate was decided. Rex raised his ceremonial staff. "The council has reviewed all evidence. We find the accused guilty of treason against the Galactic Alliance." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Marcus felt his heart sink, but he stood tall. He was innocent, and someday he would prove it. However, Rex continued, "In recognition of Earth's recent joining of our alliance, we show mercy. Instead of imprisonment in the mines of Tartarus, you will be exiled." Vale's smirk faltered. Clearly, he had hoped for a harsher sentence. "Your exile location will be planet Doom 7, Rex announced. "An uninhabited desert world in the Outer Rim. You will be provided with basic survival equipment and dropped at a designated location. If you survive 1 standard year, you may petition for a review of your case." Marcus processed this information quickly. A desert planet wasn't ideal, but it beat a mining prison, and if he was free, he could work on proving his innocence. "Do you accept this sentence?" Rex asked formally. "I accept," Marcus replied firmly, "though I maintain my innocence." The next few hours passed in a blur. Marcus was escorted to a preparation chamber, where his diplomatic uniform was replaced with basic survival gear: tough boots, desert clothing, and a backpack containing water purifiers, nutrient packs, and basic tools. They even gave him a simple shelter kit and a solder-powered comm unit, though its range was limited to planetary surface only, useless for contacting anyone off-world. As the transport ship entered Dune 7's atmosphere, Marcus got his first look at his new home through the viewport. The planet was a sea of golden sand dunes stretching to the horizon, broken only by rocky outcrops and the occasional dried riverbed. The 2 suns in the sky cast double shadows across the landscape. "No natural predators on this rock," the guard informed him with fake cheerfulness. "Worst you'll face is sandstorms. Lucky you." The ship landed with a soft thud. The exit ramp lowered, and a blast of hot air rushed in. Marcus adjusted his pack and walked down without looking back. He wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing any fear or hesitation. As the ship took off, kicking up a cloud of sand, Marcus watched it disappear into the copper-colored sky. Then he turned in a slow circle, taking in his surroundings. Nothing but sand and rocks as far as the eye could see. "Well," he muttered to himself, "time to prove humans are tougher than they think." He checked his compass, adjusted his sunshades, and started walking. The first order of business was finding shelter before the suns reached their peak. After that, he could start planning how to survive, and eventually expose the truth about his framing. What he didn't know yet was that this harsh desert world held secrets that would change his life forever. 3 days into his exile, Marcus had established a basic camp in the shelter of a large rock formation. The location wasn't perfect, but it offered protection from the brutal winds and a vantage point to survey the surrounding desert. His water recyclers were working well enough, and the nutrient packs would last a few months if he was careful. The morning of his 4th day started like the others, checking his supplies, adjusting the solar collectors, and planning his daily scouting route. But something was different today. The wind had died down overnight, revealing tracks in the sand that he hadn't noticed before. "That's impossible," Marcus muttered, kneeling to examine the marks. They weren't animal tracks. They were too regular, too geometric. They looked almost like wheel marks. Following the tracks led him to a section of rock face that he passed several times before. But now, with the morning suns at just the right angle, he noticed something odd about its surface. Brushing away years of sand revealed smooth metallic patterns that definitely weren't natural. Marcus's heart began to race. This is supposed to be an uninhabited planet, so either the Council's information is wrong, or... He spent the next hour clearing away more sand, revealing what appeared to be a door frame carved into the rock. Ancient symbols decorated its edges, unlike any language he'd seen in the Council's archives, and he had studied them all during his diplomatic training. "If this is what I think it is," he whispered, "no wonder they chose this planet for exile." After several attempts, Marcus found a small indent that responded to pressure. With a hiss of escaping air, a section of the rock face slid aside, revealing a dark passage leading into the cliff. His survival kit included a basic light stick. Activating it, Marcus stepped into the passage. The air was stale but breathable. The walls were lined with the same strange symbols, and the floor was made of some kind of metal that hadn't corroded despite the centuries of sand and wind. The passage opened into a vast chamber that took his breath away. Rows of ancient machines filled the space, covered in dust, but otherwise perfectly preserved. At the center stood what appeared to be a control panel, its surface still faintly glowing with power. This isn't just ruins, Marcus realized. This is a working facility. As he approached the control panel, his foot kicked something that skittered across the floor. Picking it up, he found what looked like a data crystal, similar to but more advanced than the ones used by the Council. "Now this is interesting," he murmured, turning the crystal in his hands. "The Council claims this planet has no history of civilization, yet here's evidence of technology that might be more advanced than theirs." A sudden sound from deeper in the facility made him freeze. It wasn't the settling of ancient machinery. It was too rhythmic, too deliberate. Footsteps. Marcus quickly ducked behind one of the machines, dimming his light stick. The footsteps grew closer, accompanied by a soft humming sound he couldn't identify. Then, in the dim light from the control panel, he saw something that defied all his expectations. A figure walked gracefully past his hiding spot, heading for the control panel. It was clearly female, but unlike any alien species he'd ever encountered. Her skin seemed to shimmer with a silvery glow, and her movements were impossibly fluid. She wore what appeared to be some kind of technological suit that hugged her form. The stranger reached the control panel and began working with practiced ease, her fingers dancing over the ancient controls. The humming sound grew stronger, and more lights began to activate throughout the chamber. Marcus watched in amazement, his mind racing with questions. Who was she? What was this place? And most importantly, what should he do now? He could stay hidden and observe, or he could reveal himself and hope she was friendly. Before he could decide, the stranger spoke in a clear, musical voice that echoed through the chamber. "You can come out now, human. I've known you were there since you entered." Marcus slowly stood up from his hiding place, hands raised to show he meant no harm. The silver-skinned woman turned to face him, and he found himself staring into eyes that shifted colors like aurora lights in Earth's night sky. "I'm Marcus Stone," he said carefully. "I mean no intrusion. I was just exploring." A slight smile curved her lips, a diplomatic way of saying you were exiled here. Her voice had a musical quality that made even basics sound elegant. "I am Luna. We've been watching you since your arrival." "We?" Marcus asked, lowering his hands. Luna nodded. "Follow me, and I'll show you why the Council's databases conveniently forget to mention this planet's true nature." She led him deeper into the facility, past more ancient machines that hummed with quiet power. They entered what appeared to be a transport chamber, where a sleek pod waited. "This might feel strange for a moment," Luna warned as they stepped inside. The pod moved with incredible speed through a crystal tunnel, diving deeper into the planet's crust. When it finally stopped and the doors opened, Marcus couldn't believe his eyes. Before them stretched a vast underground valley, lit by artificial suns that hung from a dome hundreds of meters high. Buildings of crystal and metal rose gracefully from gardens full of plants he'd never seen before. Waterfalls cascaded down artificial cliffs, and people, all with the same silvery skin as Luna, went about their daily lives. "Welcome," Luna said, "to Haven." As they walked through the city, Marcus noticed that while all the inhabitants shared the silvery skin, they were distinctly different. Some had patterns that swirled across their skin like constellations. Others had slight variations in their metallic sheen. "We are the Starborn," Luna explained. "Once, our civilization spanned dozens of worlds. We had mastered technologies your council can barely dream of. But that was precisely the problem." They stopped at a viewing platform overlooking a massive garden where children played near a fountain. "The council feared us," she continued, "not because we were violent. We have always been peaceful. They feared our potential, what we could become." "What happened?" Marcus asked, though he was beginning to guess. "They attacked without warning, destroyed our worlds one by one. A few of us escaped here, to this remote planet. We used our technology to create this haven deep underground and hid ourselves away." A group of young Starborn waved at Luna as they passed. She waved back with a sad smile. "These children have never seen a real sky, never felt real rain. We survive, but we live in fear that the Council will find us again." Marcus felt a mix of shame and anger. "I'm so sorry. I served the Council, believed in their ideals of peace and unity. But lately I've seen corruption growing within their ranks." Luna turned to face him, her color-shifting eyes serious. "That's why you were exiled, isn't it? You found something you weren't supposed to." "I was framed," Marcus said, "but now I wonder if what I accidentally accessed was related to your people." A new voice joined their conversation. It most certainly was. They turned to see another Starborn woman approaching, her skin patterns more intricate than Luna's. "This is Crystal, my sister," Luna introduced. "She's our chief engineer and the one who first noticed your arrival." Crystal studied Marcus with interest. "The files you accessed were part of our hidden history. Someone in the Council wants to make sure we stay forgotten. When they saw those files were viewed, they panicked." "Which means," Luna added, "you're as much a victim of the Council's lies as we are." Marcus looked between the sisters, then back at the peaceful valley. "So what happens now?" "That depends," Luna said. "We've revealed ourselves to you because we believe you could be an ally. But it's your choice. We can return you to your camp, and you can pretend you never found us. Or," Marcus asked. Crystal smiled, "or you can stay. Help us. Perhaps together we can find a way to right ancient wrongs and build a better future." Marcus looked at the magnificent city again, then at Luna's hopeful expression. His exile had led him to something far more important than clearing his name. It had led him to the truth. "I want to help," he said firmly. "Whatever it takes." Luna's eyes sparkled with all the colors of the aurora. "Then welcome home, Marcus Stone." 2 weeks had passed since Marcus joined the Starborn community. He spent his days learning their history and technology from Luna, while Crystal taught him about their advanced defense systems. The more he learned, the more pieces of the puzzle fell into place. Today, they were in the Great Archive, a vast chamber filled with holographic records. Luna was showing him records from the time before their exile. This is what caught your attention in the Council's database, Luna said, activating a hologram. It showed a magnificent fleet of starborn ships, their hulls gleaming with the same silvery sheen as their makers. Our evacuation fleet. The image changed to show burning worlds and battles. Marcus watched in horror as Council warships attacked civilian vessels trying to escape. They told everyone you were dangerous extremists, he said quietly, that you threatened the galaxy's peace. The real threat was our understanding of biology, Crystal said, joining them. She waved her hand, and the hologram changed to show complex molecular structures. We learned to enhance ourselves, to adapt to any environment. The Council feared we would eventually evolve beyond their control. Luna nodded sadly. They couldn't accept that we had no interest in controlling anyone. We only wanted to grow, to learn, to explore. Marcus studied the molecular diagrams floating before them. This is why your people can survive here, isn't it? You adapted yourselves to live underground. Yes, Crystal confirmed. Our ancestors used their knowledge to change their bodies, allowing them to absorb energy more efficiently and survive with minimal resources. Each generation becomes more attuned to this environment. A small group of starborn children ran past the archive entrance, their skin patterns glowing with excitement. Luna watched them with a mixture of joy and sadness. But there's more, she continued. Show him, Crystal. Crystal activated another hologram, this one showing a familiar face. Marcus's eyes widened. That's Arbiter Vale. But this recording must be hundreds of years old. The same Vale who framed you, Luna confirmed. Some council members are not what they appear to be. They use technology stolen from our people to extend their lives, all while maintaining the lie that we were the dangerous ones. Marcus felt anger rising in his chest. They destroyed your civilization to hide their own corruption. And they continue to hunt any trace of us, Crystal added, which is why your discovery of those files was so threatening to them. Vale probably thought you had found evidence of his true age. Instead, I accidentally stumbled onto an even bigger secret. Marcus paced the room, thinking hard. But this means we have leverage. If we could expose this to the other council members. Luna touched his arm gently, her aurora eyes serious. It's not that simple. Many council members are part of this conspiracy. Some because they use our technology, others because they profit from keeping the truth hidden. Then we expose it to everyone, Marcus said firmly. Not just the council, but all member worlds. The truth about your people, about the council's corruption, about everything. Crystal looked skeptical. The risk would be enormous. If we fail, they would find us. All of this, she gestured to the city beyond the archive walls, would be destroyed. And if we do nothing, Marcus countered, you'll live in fear forever. Your children will never see the stars their ancestors came from. Luna and Crystal shared a long look, seeming to communicate silently. Finally, Luna turned back to Marcus. There's something else you should know, she said softly. Something that could help us. But it's also the council's greatest fear. She led them deeper into the archive, to a sealed chamber he hadn't seen before. What we're about to show you, Crystal warned, is our most closely guarded secret. Once you see this, there's no turning back. Are you sure you want to continue? Marcus looked at Luna, saw the trust in her ever-changing eyes, then nodded firmly. I'm sure. Crystal pressed her hand to the door, her skin patterns glowing as she activated the lock. As the door slid open, Marcus steeled himself for whatever revelation awaited inside. The sealed chamber contained a sight that made Marcus catch his breath. At its center stood a massive crystal, pulsing with inner light. Within it, strands of energy danced like living threads of starlight. This is the heart, Luna explained, her skin patterns glowing in response to the crystal's light. It's not just a power source, it's the key to our evolution. The reason the council fears us so much. Crystal approached the crystal, placing her hand on its surface. The energy within surged toward her touch. The heart can rewrite genetic codes, adapt any living being to survive in any environment. But more than that, it can share consciousness across vast distances. A biological quantum network, Marcus whispered, understanding dawning. You're all connected through it. Luna nodded. In a way, we can share thoughts, memories, even dreams. Distance means nothing to the heart. And she hesitated, looking at Crystal. And it can work with any species, Crystal finished, including humans. Marcus stared at them both. You mean? Yes, Luna said softly. If you choose, you could join our connection. Become one of us, while still remaining yourself. This is what terrified the council most, the idea that we could share our gift with others. Marcus approached the crystal slowly. Its light seemed to reach for him, like curious fingers exploring the air. Is it safe? For you, yes, Crystal assured him. Because you came to us with an open heart. The process only works with willing participants who truly understand and accept us. Luna touched his shoulder gently. There's no pressure. You've already proven yourself a true friend to our people. This would just be a deeper connection. Marcus looked at her, seeing the hope in her aurora eyes. Over the past weeks, he had grown closer to Luna than he'd ever expected. Her kindness, her strength, her determination to protect her people, all of it had touched him deeply. I want to try, he said firmly. The sisters exchanged glances, then nodded. They led him to a specially prepared chamber adjacent to the heart room. Here, smaller crystals lined the walls, their light synchronized with the main crystal's pulse. Lie here, Crystal instructed, indicating a crystalline bed. The process takes several hours. We'll stay with you throughout. As Marcus lay down, Luna took his hand. Her touch sent a warm tingle through his arm. Ready? She asked. He squeezed her hand. Ready. Crystal activated the chamber systems. The light from the crystals grew stronger, enveloping Marcus in a cocoon of gentle radiance. He felt a strange sensation, as if his consciousness was expanding beyond his body. Then the memories began flowing. He saw the Starborn's ancient worlds through their eyes, felt their joy in discovery, their pain in exile, understood their hopes, their fears, their dreams. Luna's presence stayed with him through it all, a guiding light in the stream of shared consciousness. Hours passed like minutes. When Marcus finally opened his eyes, he knew he was changed. His skin had taken on a subtle silvery sheen, and he could feel the heart's energy flowing through him. But more importantly, he could feel the connection, the vast web of thoughts and emotions that linked all Starborn together. Luna was crying tears of joy, her skin patterns dancing with happiness. Even Crystal looked moved, her usually serious expression softened with emotion. Welcome, truly, to our family, Luna whispered. Marcus sat up, marveling at his new awareness. He could sense every Starborn in the city, feel their curiosity and welcome. But his strongest connection was to Luna. Their minds touched like intertwined stars. Now you understand everything, Crystal said. Why we must stay hidden, but also why we can never give up hope of reclaiming our place among the stars. Marcus nodded, still holding Luna's hand. And now I can help you properly. With the heart's power and my knowledge of the council, we can find a way to expose the truth. Luna's eyes sparkled. Together. Together, Marcus agreed, feeling the word resonate through their shared connection. And this time, the council won't know what hit them. The warning came during the night cycle. Crystal burst into the living quarters. Marcus now shared with Luna, her skin patterns flashing with alarm patterns. Council ships, she announced. 3 of them, entering orbit. They're not due to check on Marcus for months. Marcus and Luna immediately connected to the Heart's network, accessing the city's sensor data. Through their shared consciousness, they could see the council vessels clearly, 2 patrol ships and 1 command carrier. Vale is on that carrier, Marcus said grimly, recognizing the ship's signature. This isn't a routine check. They found something. Luna's patterns shifted with concern. The question is what? Our shields and camouflage systems are perfect. They shouldn't be able to detect us." They rushed to the control center, where other Starborn were already monitoring the situation. The massive screens showed the Council ships beginning their descent into the atmosphere. "They're heading straight for Marcus's old camp," Crystal reported, her fingers dancing over the control panels. "But there's something else. They're using some kind of new scanning technology." Marcus felt a chill. "The files I was accused of stealing. What if they weren't just historical records? What if Veil had been developing new ways to detect your people? Using our own technology against us," Luna realized. "The knowledge they stole centuries ago." The screen showed Veil's troops deploying from the ships, their scan equipment sweeping the desert. The readings were getting dangerously close to detecting the underground city's energy signature. "We need to make a decision," Crystal said urgently. "We can either shut down all systems and hope they pass us by, or we fight," Marcus finished. Through their connection, he felt Luna's mix of fear and determination. "Fighting would reveal our existence," Luna said. "Everything we've protected for centuries would be exposed." "But hiding isn't an answer anymore," Marcus replied. "If they have this detection technology, they'll find other hidden Starborn settlements. We need to end this now." Crystal's patterns flashed with surprise. "You mean the heart?" Marcus nodded. "We use its full power, not to fight, but to show everyone the truth." Luna grabbed his hand, their connection flooding with shared purpose. "The quantum network. We could broadcast our memories, our history, to every connected system in Council space," Crystal finished, catching on to the plan. "Their neural networks, their communication systems, they're all based on stolen Starborn tech. They're compatible." Veil and his allies couldn't hide the truth anymore, Marcus said. Every citizen of every world would know what really happened. A proximity alarm blared. The Council forces had found the ruins where Marcus had first discovered the hidden door. "We need to decide now," Crystal urged. Luna looked at Marcus, then at her sister. Through their shared connection, a wave of agreement passed between all the Starborn in the city. They were tired of hiding. "Do it," Luna commanded. Crystal's fingers flew over the controls, redirecting power from the city's shields to the heart. The massive crystal began to pulse with blinding light. "Veil's forces are breaching the outer door," someone reported. "Let them come," Marcus said, stepping up to the heart with Luna. "They're about to get the surprise of their centuries-long lives." The Council forces would find them, yes, but they would find something very different from the cowering refugees they expected. They would find a united people, standing proud beside a human who shared their consciousness and their cause. Through the heart's connection, Marcus felt the determination of every Starborn in the city. No more hiding. No more fear. Today, they would reclaim their place in the galaxy. As Veil's troops approached the inner chambers, the heart's light grew to blinding intensity. Marcus and Luna stood together, their patterns glowing in unison, ready to broadcast the truth to every corner of Council space. The doors burst open. Veil stood there, his ageless face twisted with triumph. A triumph that quickly turned to shock as he saw what awaited him. "Hello, Veil," Marcus said calmly, his silver skin shimmering with power. "Ready to explain to everyone how you've lived for 300 years. The heart's power surged through the quantum network, carrying centuries of truth to every corner of Council space. Veil could only watch in horror as his carefully maintained lies crumbled. Through every neural link and communication device, citizens across the galaxy witnessed the Starborn's memories. They saw the peaceful civilization that had been destroyed, the corruption that had festered in the Council for centuries, and the truth about leaders like Veil who had stolen Starborn technology to extend their lives. "It's over, Veil," Marcus said, standing proudly beside Luna. His silver skin patterns danced with energy from the heart. "Every world, every citizen, they're all seeing who you really are." Veil drew his weapon, but Crystal's quick commands activated the city's internal defenses, freezing him and his soldiers in containment fields. 300 years of plotting, Vale snarled, undone by a human exile and some refugee scum. Luna stepped forward, her aurora eyes blazing. We were never refugees. We were survivors, waiting for the right moment to reveal the truth. Marcus helped us find that moment. Through their shared connection, Marcus felt the reaction spreading across council space. Shock turned to outrage. Demands for investigations echoed through the quantum network. Other starborn settlements, hidden on distant worlds, began revealing themselves. Incoming transmission, Crystal announced. It's the council chamber. The other members are demanding emergency session. On the main screen, they could see the council in chaos. Many of the older members, those who had used stolen starborn technology, were already being detained by security forces. Younger members, shocked by the revelations, were calling for immediate reform. The council leadership will be purged, Marcus observed. And this time, the truth won't be buried. Vale laughed bitterly. You think exposing us changes anything? The damage is done. Your people's worlds are still dead. But we're still here, Luna replied calmly. And now we can help build something better. The heart's gift was never meant to be hoarded by a few corrupt leaders. It was meant to be shared, to help all species grow together. Through the quantum network, Marcus felt the other starborn settlements agreeing. One by one, they were revealing their hidden hearts, offering their knowledge and assistance to their neighboring worlds. The age of hiding is over, Crystal declared, her patterns shimmering with joy. Now we can fulfill our true purpose, teaching others how to evolve safely, how to adapt and grow without destroying themselves. More transmissions were pouring in, worlds requesting starborn guidance, offers of alliance, pledges of support. The galaxy was transforming before their eyes. Marcus turned to Luna, their shared consciousness bright with hope. What happens now? Now, she smiled, taking his hand, we build the future my people always dreamed of, together. Vale and his forces were transported to holding cells, where they would await trial for centuries of crimes. The hidden city began powering up systems that had been dormant for generations, preparing to open itself to the galaxy. Crystal's scans showed similar activities at other starborn settlements. It's happening everywhere, she reported happily. All our hidden havens, awakening at last. Marcus felt Luna's joy through their connection, mixed with memories of all they had endured to reach this moment. His exile, meant to be a punishment, had instead led to the greatest discovery of his life, not just the starborn civilization, but love that transcended species. The council wanted to bury the truth in this desert, he said, looking at the city now buzzing with new energy. Instead, they planted the seeds of their own transformation. Luna's patterns swirled with affection, and found us the perfect partner to help guide that transformation. As the first transport ships began arriving from nearby worlds, bringing curious visitors and earnest allies, Marcus and Luna stood together in the heart chamber. Through their shared consciousness, they felt the bright future unfurling before them, a galaxy awakening to new possibilities, guided by the wisdom of the stars themselves. The desert exile had ended. A new adventure was just beginning.